You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, trying. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities, Wednesday on March 11th. Thank you guys for joining us wherever you are, however you're taking the show in. Thank you so much for doing that. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you have liked, commented, all those kind of things. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And then tell a friend or 2 or 10 about what we're doing every day. Right here, 10 a.m. every weekday, Off Day with Matt Randazzo. It's been a bunch of fun. Another great show coming your way today. Also, we're live on X. X has been very, very good to us as well, so make sure you check out X as well if you need to check us out in that way. Also, be interactive. There's a chat going on YouTube. It's active most days, almost every day. And also be interactive on X as well. Give us your feedback, what you like, what you don't like. If you got questions for guests coming up, all of those kind of things, make sure you hit us up on those 2 platforms as well. Speaking of platforms, we're also available on all the podcasting platforms as well. So whether it's Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts, go ahead and put in Matt Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and you should be able to check out the show, listen to us. I always advise listening, looking, and watching. Sometimes tough on the eyes, but it's better to listen sometimes as well. And then also welcome to our viewers in Central Iowa. You can see the show every night in the Des Moines area on the WHO streaming app. We love that. Thank you for the feedback, all of those kind of things throughout the last several months when it comes to being in the Central Iowa area as well. It's been a great week on the show. On Monday, we had Kyle Huseman, John Bonenkamp talking Iowa women, Western Illinois women, a lot of stuff going on over the weekend when it comes to the women's tournaments, and of course Western Illinois being in the NCAA tournament for the first time in a long time, since 2017. Also, we had the Maquoketa girls, a trio of seniors. The Maquoketa girls won state. If you missed that interview, whether you're a Maquoketa fan or just a high school basketball fan, go check that out. Able to surprise them a little way about halfway through the interview as well, which was a lot of fun. Also, John Marks joined us on a Monday as well. Also, Tuesday, Tom Kakert. We had Alleman's Thomas Smith and Rock Island's Jake Scudder talking about the Western Big Six Boys Opening Day Banquet, which is coming up tonight down at the Stern Center. You can go show up at the door. $16 gets you a great meal and a bunch of entertainment as well. And then also Mark Woodley, my good friend from KWWL in the Waterloo area, joined us yesterday as well, talking about UNI being in the NCAA tournament. They won Arch Madness this past weekend as well. So a lot on the first 2 shows of the week. If you missed that, go back, check those out. We always appreciate when you do that as well. A lot of you have already watched, which we really do appreciate. Today, a very busy day, a busy morning in sports. So many things going on. We got hot topics when it comes to the NFL, college basketball, the NBA. We'll get to those kind of things. Don't talk a lot of NBA on the show, but we will this morning in just a matter of moments. Also, coming up in a little bit, just a couple moments as well. We talked about the Western Illinois girls punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament this past weekend. One of the 6 players that they play about 6 kids, or 6 young ladies, I should say. Allie Meadows is one of them, a former Central DeWitt standout, a senior for the Leathernecks. She's living the dream right now, getting ready to go to the NCAA tournament. We're going to have Allie Meadows join us in just a matter of moments as well. On yesterday's show, we previewed that boys baseball, the Western Big Six boys baseball opening day banquet coming up tonight. Thursday night, tomorrow night, we will have the inaugural Western Big Six softball opening day banquet as well. Yesterday, the guys started, so it's year 2 for them. This year, it's the inaugural one for the ladies. Excited about that. We're going to preview that, talk a little softball, because there was a high school softball game last night here in the Quad Cities. Softball season is already here. We'll have Alleman's Blake Humphrey and Rock Island's Julie Hudnall join us a little bit later on in the show as well. And then in hour number 2, there's a Quad Cityan, a physical therapist at Rock Valley, that's getting ready to run his 50th marathon in all 50 states. It'll be the last of the 50 later this month out in Nevada, in the Vegas area. Danny Fleener is his name. He's going to join us. And if you want to feel hear an inspirational story, it's his. Also a motivating story as well, because after hearing what he's doing, I feel like I should go for a run or do something along those lines as well. Really cool story. So we'll have that coming up in hour number 2 of the show today. So a loaded, jam-packed show once again. Of course, the college conference tournaments are beginning. They're already underway. The NCAA tournament next week. Make sure you're locked right here. We're going to have our second annual bracket pick'em challenge. I don't know how I'm going to call it yet. I got to look back and see what we called it last year, but I'm really excited. Great sponsors that are giving us things to put into the prize package and all those kind of things. So more information on that to come. But we mentioned college basketball, and it's busy this morning. Coming up in less than an hour, the Iowa Hawkeyes will tip things off at the United Center in the Big Ten tournament. They'll take on Maryland this morning at 11 a.m. Maryland knocked off Oregon yesterday. They led 33-12 at the half. They went on and won by 10. So it's Iowa, Maryland. They split the regular season. Iowa lost at Maryland recently, a couple weeks ago. Maryland playing better basketball. They nearly knocked off Illinois at Maryland on Sunday. So they're playing better basketball. An important game for the Hawkeyes. We had Tom Kakert on yesterday talking. I think Iowa's in the NCAA tournament, but you don't want to back in. And they've lost 3 straight. 2 of them to really good teams and really close games, but you want to get back on track and win a game or 2 or 3 before you go into the NCAA tournament. Also help your seeding a little bit as well. So an important game at the UC. That's an 11 a.m. tip-off, on Peacock. Also Iowa State in action against Arizona State. That's a rematch from this past weekend. So that'll be at 11:30 today as well. NFL wise, a crazy evening. We knew it was going to be a busy week, and the craziness kind of started over the weekend with Max Crosby. I think Friday night, getting traded to the Ravens for a pair of first-round picks. Then news came yesterday that the Ravens have kind of canceled the trade. Trade is off. Max Crosby allegedly or supposedly failing a physical, or they didn't like the physical when they got him in the building. So that's the weird thing, because everyone hears trade done or free agents the last couple days signing. They think it's a done deal. The new league season or new league year, I guess is the best way to put it, doesn't start till today at like 3 p.m. So nothing's official until them. And the Ravens said, hey, we're out. We don't want to do this. We didn't like what we saw. It's weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's awkward around the league, because I think you do business with good faith that you're going to continue to do what you said you're going to do. A lot of these things, a lot of these agreements, free agency contracts are done in good faith. And now the trade is off. And you can see there with the Adam Schefter tweet, the Ravens, the statement by the Raiders basically saying the Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement for Max Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time. So that was weird last night, and everyone wondering what in the world happened. And then this morning comes this news. The Ravens have agreed to a contract with Trey Hendrickson, one of the other big name defensive ends, 4-year, $112 million contract. So he stays in the the AFC North. And he will go to Baltimore. So Baltimore gets a good defensive end, probably not as good and young as Max Crosby, but still one of the most underrated, one of the most productive defensive ends in football. And now they keep their first their 2 first-round picks, including this year. They'll draft number 14. So a crazy 12 to 24 hours when it comes to all of this. What does it mean to the Bears? Because the Bears now have the opportunity to possibly pick up Max Crosby. It's reported that they offered 2 first-round picks as well. They just chose Baltimore because number 14 was a lot higher than number 25. So what does this do to the Bears? Do they revisit it? They've signed people, they've signed players. Do they have the room? All of those kind of things. I don't think the Raiders are going to take a discount when it comes to what's next. And if they can, I think they're going to want to get as much as they can out of him, but they're in a bad spot, obviously. So possibly the Bears getting him at a little bit of a discount. We'll go see what happens there, but crazy times in the NFL. Speaking of the Bears, they made several moves yesterday. This is one that kind of hit home for me, obviously being a Lions fan. Khalif Raymond, really a locker room leader. You saw Amon-Ra St. Brown talk about one of his favorite teammates ever. The Randazzo family, this house loves Leaf. They love Khalif Raymond. Good kick return specialist, more punt than kickoff. He really didn't do a lot of kickoffs this last year. So a lot of people talked about like him being a kickoff returner, more punt returner than kickoff, but a nice pickup for the Bears. And I mean that. And I'm not trying to be a Lions fan, but the reaction on social media was awesome and kind of silly because you would have thought that the Bears signed Amon-Ra St. Brown and not Khalif Raymond. No disrespect to Khalif Raymond, but he's the 4th wide receiver in Detroit. He had 30 catches, I think, this year, maybe 30 targets, something like that. He's going to be 32 years old when this season starts. So good value, $3.5 million, but if the Lions wanted him back, they probably would have gotten him back. Not that they don't love him. I'm again not trying to throw shade or anything at Khalif Raymond, but pump the brakes on social media. You got Khalif Raymond, the 4th wide receiver at 32 years old. You didn't get Amon-Ra St. Brown or anything like that. So not game breaking, not anything crazy, not season defining, a nice pickup when it comes to the Chicago Bears. So I say that nicely. I don't want Bears fans to get mad at me, although I don't care. It'd be great if they did. But a nice pickup for the Bears, but pump the brakes a little bit when it comes to how good Khalif Raymond is. NBA, we don't talk a ton of NBA on the show, but when history is made, we got to bring it up. We got to talk about it. Bam Adebayo for the Miami Heat passes Kobe Bryant for second when it comes to the highest scoring games in NBA history. Obviously, Wilt Chamberlain has the highest scoring game, 100 points. Kobe did it several years ago. 81 was his mark. Bam Adebayo does it last night. 83 points. I think he had 30 points in the first quarter alone. 9 rebounds, 20 of 43 shooting. The free throws is what it got as everybody all fired up this morning. 36 out of 43 free throws. I think Kobe attempted 20 when he had his game. And I think Wilt was like 32. He attempted 43. Part of the game. It's funny because they're really, and I get it. People love Kobe. They don't want to see that record probably broken, but a remarkable feat, 83 points. And I don't care how you did it, how you got there, whatever it is. 83 points is 83 points, and it's pretty impressive, pretty special as well. So congratulations to him, and a busy night in the world of sports. The United States lost baseball-wise in the World Baseball Classic to Italy, and I think going into the game they thought they were good. The game didn't matter. Now you kind of find out it does matter. Tonight's game with Mexico and Italy has some meaning. I think the United States will get into where they want to be, but I think they were mistaken, honestly. When you talk to the team and you heard from the team and the manager and everything before the game, it felt like it didn't matter. And it actually did. And so some of the scoring late in the game may help out the United States to get where they want to be, but a surprising result. Italy winning, Randazzo, Italian. So if you're going to lose, I guess you want to lose to Italy. That's the best. Also, state basketball going on in Illinois, up in Des Moines. Burlington Notre Dame winning last night, 68-62. So they are going to the state semifinals. They beat Bellevue by that score. They'll take on number 1 seed seed St. Edmunds coming up in the semifinals. So congratulations to the Nikes. We'll keep an eye on them, see if we can get them on the show at some point this week or maybe next week after a state championship as well. So a busy time in Des Moines, and also stuff going on in Illinois. No local teams for us here at the Quad Cities still playing, but a busy, fun time when it comes to high school basketball in both the state of Iowa and Illinois as well. We are going to take a quick 30-second break. After the break, we are going to catch up with Allie Meadows, former Central DeWitt standout. The Leathernecks are going to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. We'll talk to her about a special weekend at the OVC tournament and a lot more. Allie Meadows and much more. You're watching OTA on a Wednesday right here in the QC. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. March Madness started this past weekend with teams clinching their ticket to the NCAA tournament, especially for the ladies, and it was a special one down in Macomb for Western Illinois. They went to Evansville for the OVC tournament, and they won the OVC, clinching their ticket to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. And one of those players on Western Illinois' team is a local standout as well, former Central DeWitt standout and senior guard Allie Meadows joins us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. First and foremost, great to see you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, I'm so happy to be on the show.
I love it. I love it. We got a lot to get to because we're going to catch up on your Central DeWitt days and all that stuff as well. But Allie, you're going to play in the NCAA tournament in about a week and a day or two from right now. Has that sunk in? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means everything. I've dreamed of it since I was a little girl. I never got to take that state title home at DeWitt, and now that I can win a conference championship here at the college level at Western Illinois, it means the absolute world.
You guys have had a fantastic season and 26-5 and a great run through the OVC. But you got to clinch that. You got to win that tournament in order to get into the NCAA tournament. What was that like this past weekend? Because it's almost lose and go home, and to know you get a Lindenwood team that just got you maybe a week or so earlier. What was the mindset, I guess, going into this weekend and the OVC tournament?
Yeah, so for the OVC tournament, we were the first seed, and that means you get 2 byes. And honestly, everyone was kind of like, oh, you get 2 byes, you're going to be really fresh. No. We came out a little bit flat against the 8th seed SEMO. I'm not going to lie, we've always kind of had troubles with that team. So I wasn't necessarily sure we were going to make it to that championship game. But we ended up pulling it out, and then playing Lindenwood. They, not necessarily like our rivals by any means, but they're rivals in our hearts. We've always had fits with them. To know that they just beat us on our senior night was a stab. So we wanted to get back at them, and it was perfect that it just worked out that both of us were in the championship.
No better way to get back at them than by beating them to go to the NCAA tournament. That game, obviously 71-65, the final score. When does it start setting in for you out there on the court? Obviously a closer game late. It wasn't a blowout, so you couldn't hang out in the fourth quarter and watch the clock go by. What point did you kind of realize, oh wow, this is happening. We're gonna do this?
Yeah, no, definitely. So we got off to a really good start in the first half, and honestly, we haven't been doing that recently. So we've always kind of had slower starts, coming out stagnant. That was a big push for us. And then they kind of came back in the third. We came out a little bit flat in the second half. But in the fourth quarter, I remember my teammate Mia Nicastro was shooting 2 free throws to kind of clinch it. I also want to shout out Maddie Davis for throwing a behind the back pass into a layup. And I think that gave us like a 6-point lead. Kind of at that point, I was like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag.
The clock goes to 0. the buzzer goes off. Do you remember what happens at that point? Take me through the celebration, the thought process, what's going through your mind when you get to have that celebration that so many athletes have wanted to have in their career.
Oh, it was so amazing. It's a little bit sad because I feel like I blacked out during it, right? So like I don't have too many memories, but I do remember just hugging my teammates, the confetti coming down. It truly nothing I've ever experienced before, and it was just so amazing seeing. We traveled great. Our community came out and supported us. Seeing them run out on the floor, my mom and dad, like everyone's crying, tears of joy. It was something super special.
We had John Bonenkamp on the show on Monday, and he was out there covering it for you ladies.
Yeah,
And,
okay.
and he was, I mean, that's one thing he brought up was the community. And he's like, you got there and you saw the amount of people that were there to support these young ladies. Can you talk about that? Because they've bought into what you guys have been doing. They've done that for years. They've bought into it so not to reward them, but almost in a way, rewarding them for their support had to feel special as well.
Oh my gosh, the Macomb community is one of their own. They have traveled with us constantly, and it's not just parents, it's community members who have always cared, donors. But I tell you what, when Lindenwood, they didn't travel well at all, and I was a little bit disappointed for them because I'm like, you're not too far. I think that made a huge difference in the game because just seeing our fan base standing up, cheering at timeouts, all the things, it just truly means the world to me. And Western Illinois is such a special place. We are such a tight-knit community, and it really helped us win that championship.
The trip back and then the days till now, I guess, obviously you want to know who you're playing and all those kind of things. You get that, the ladies get that week off. I don't want to say off because there's no weeks off in this time of year, but away from playing. What's that been like? You guys playing such good basketball. Do you wish there was a game around the corner, or is this great to celebrate, to let sink in, to kind of center out a little bit, if that makes sense, and then move on to the NCAA tournament?
No, for sure. Like I kind of said before, I'm not one for the 2-game bye. I kind of like to keep it going. So I do wish we had maybe at least a scrimmage set up or something to keep us going. But yes, we got Monday and Tuesday off. So today off, and then we're going to practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then all next week. But it's needed. We do need some time off, I think, mentally and physically. Playing back-to-back, especially with only 6 kids who really play, definitely hard on the legs and on the body and on the mind. So these 2 days off are going to be great, and then we'll get back at it tomorrow.
You look at it, we kind of talked about the celebration on the court. What's it been like heading back home? What was that trip like back home? And any fun stories or anything when it comes to the celebration? Because it's that's what memories are made of. Obviously, it's the basketball and the play on the court, but the celebrations, the time off the court, I think, is probably just as special as well.
Oh, for sure. So Tennessee State men and Morehead State men had to play after us. So we kind of got kicked off the court a little bit early. And then we came back to the hotel. We ended up staying the night in Evansville that night. We had a whole ballroom, conference room to ourselves. We partied for sure. The coaches, all the parents, so many tears of joy and speeches and just a lot of toasts going on to the coaches and the team. We definitely celebrated, and we had a lot of fun in Evansville. The Sunday trip back home wasn't as fun, but it was a good time.
Absolutely. Allie Meadows from Western Illinois joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Allie, you look at it and you're a senior, you're a 3-year starter. You played all 4 years. It's a journey. And when you go to someplace like Western Illinois, you never know if you're making the NCAA tournament, what's it going to be? Talk about the journey to get to this point. I mean, you guys have been successful and have played good basketball, but to be able to cap off maybe a career to go to the NCAA tournament, like we mentioned, that's every kid's dream. What's the journey been like for you as a senior down at Western Illinois?
Yeah, absolutely. So my teammate, Addie Brownfield, we came in together as freshmen, and freshman year was tough. For any freshman, I think it's tough. We didn't win a whole lot of games. We kind of came into the program in a building year. And then sophomore year comes around, get a little bit better. Reagan McCowan joins our team, who was a tremendous player for us, still is. Unfortunately, she was out with an injury this year. And then junior year rolls around, and There was plenty of times Addie and I had the conversation of like, it's tough, but we're going to bring this team to the top. Like that was our goal since freshman year. We told JD Gravina that, we want to win a conference championship, and that was our goal. So junior year comes around, we get Mia Nicastro, a transfer, awesome. We had a better season that year, and I think last year for us was kind of the turning point. That was a really good year for us. And then senior year, couldn't ask for anything different. I do wish Reagan McCowan was still healthy with us for sure. She would have helped us tremendously. And then getting another transfer, Mallory Shetley, who has been tremendous, especially in the OVC tournament. So just kind of getting little pieces from different programs. We don't necessarily go to the transfer portal a lot, and that is one thing I respect JD tremendously, because he builds his players up. And from our freshman year to our senior year, we have gotten so much better as a collective group, but also individually. So yeah, it's been a heck of a ride for sure, but I'm so happy to go out on this note.
You mentioned JD. What's that guy mean? 13th year in Macomb. He's had success. He's done it the right way. All of those kind of things. You don't hear any negative things when it comes to him and his program. What's he meant to you girls, and what's he going to continue to mean these next couple weeks as you guys get ready for the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, no, he has been awesome. As you said, like no negative things can be said. He's such a community guy. And I think being in like I said, a small town like Macomb, a tight-knit community, your head coach has to be the face of the program. And, he kind of has to bring that respect. He has nothing but good things to say about our fans and of our team and of the parents. He's been great, and I definitely wouldn't trade having him for the world. And I think now, like, this has been a dream too for him. He knew this team was special. He said at the beginning of the year, back when we practiced in the summer, he was like, this is a championship team. And he's stuck with that and kind of led us with his word. And yeah, I just couldn't be more grateful for him.
Allie Meadows from Western Illinois joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Okay, so I'm a big sports dork. I love bracketology and all those kind of things. I go look who's where and all those kind of things, men's, women's, everything. Do you guys do that? Do you look at bracketology and are we 15 seed here, there? There's always that talk of maybe heading to Iowa City. Would that be something you guys welcome and like with the closeness? Do you do the bracketology kind of stuff?
For sure. We have always kept it, especially in the back of our mind. Even at the OVC tournament, that's not the focus yet. Winning the championship is the focus. But we always kind of thought about it, and we've had a great record this year. So I don't think we're going to be the 16th seed necessarily. We're hoping for that 15th, 14th spot. But we've heard TCU, we've heard Michigan, we've heard Iowa. I'm going to be honest, being an Iowa kid, of course, I would absolutely love it. And the community could travel so easily, but we did already play them. So I'm kind of like, maybe we can get another team that would be really cool. So I'm kind of hoping it's different than Iowa. I'm not going to lie.
How do you prepare for Selection Sunday? And I know the celebration on the court is one thing, and that's a bunch of fun, but that's the other cool thing, is to be sitting in that room when the brackets are revealed and you grow up watching those shots of teams going crazy. How do you prepare for Selection Sunday? What is it? Do you have preparations? Where are you guys going to be? They better be giving you some food or something like that. It should be a party. What's the plans for Sunday? It's a pretty big Sunday.
Oh, super big Sunday. We are so excited. I will say that was being a part of Selection Sunday is so cool. I think that is probably one of the highlights of this whole thing for me. Anyways, I just love watching it. And now being able, I'm going to make sure I get a seat up front. Okay. I want everyone to see. No, but so I think we're going to throw a little like parent party at the beginning. All community fans, other sports teams are welcome, faculty, all the jazz. And then I believe we're just doing it at Western Hall.
Yeah.
And we'll have all the cameras set up there, and I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so fun. Such a cool experience for my family as well. They've always grown up watching the NCAA March Madness, so now being being able to be that, I'm so excited.
Basketball wise, you mentioned get back to work, get back to practice. You don't know your opponent yet. During all of this craziness and emotions and everything, there's basketball to be played. Kind of talk about that. And is that the easy thing? Is that like, okay, let's escape from the craziness and do what we love to do with the girls we love to do it with and go play basketball. Take me through the focus or the mental side of this whole thing.
Yeah, no, definitely what you said. I think basketball's the easy part. Kind of dealing with all these emotions right now has been tricky. Like, we're excited, but we're a little bit nervous. We're like, what's people kind of expecting out of us? But I think whoever we match up with is going to be a tough game, obviously, right? So we're just going to go out there, kind of have the mindset of like, we have nothing to lose. Go have fun with your teammates. Know that this could possibly be the last time on the court, especially for me as a senior playing for Western Illinois and having that across my chest. So I'm going to go out with nothing to lose and have that mentality.
Allie, we have to talk a little bit about the home teams up here, and obviously you're a proud Saber. You guys went to state, I think, back-to-back years before your graduation. They're doing it still. I don't know if it's something in the water up there or what, but the Sabers back to state this year. They've been back for 2 straight years. What's it like watching from afar, and maybe not even from afar, knowing some family ties, but what's it like watching them? And I'm sure you're proud of what they continue to do.
Oh, I'm so proud. Being a Saber alumni, I will always support the Sabers, always. I do have 2 cousins on the team, like we talked about, Ava Putman, Emma Putman. I love those girls to death, and I just wish nothing but success for those 2 individually, but also for their teams. I'm so happy they got to state in back-to-back years. That is so tricky.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, like, going back-to-back is kind of unheard of. So I'm so proud of those girls, their whole team, their coaching staff. I wish nothing but success. And then along on the boys' side too, my brother plays, Brady Meadows.
Yeah.
And it was a bummer not to see them get to state, but I thought they had an incredible year and they did all they could, and I was really happy to see that for them.
Going back to those high school days, what stands out the most? Is it the state trips? Is it the silly stuff off the court? What stands out the most when it comes to thinking back? You're not too old. I don't want to act like you have to go back too far in the years, but what stands out the most from your Saber days?
Oh yeah, now being 4 years out, which is insane to even think about. Definitely I miss playing with my best friends. Taylor Veach, Natalie Butler, Lauren Walker. It's nice to know that we still obviously keep up every single day, but to have those memories on the court with them, I don't say I necessarily took those for granted, but you definitely don't think about that being in the moment. And I would do anything to go back and play with those girls again. So that's definitely what I miss most.
I love it. Allie Meadows joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Let's have some fun, some goofy questions, some dumb questions I like to ask. If you could, I'm a foodie, so I don't know if there's things in the Quad Cities you miss. Obviously, I joked with the girls from Central DeWitt that there's some good restaurants up there as well, but it's McDonald's and when it comes to those kind of things.
Yeah.
What do you miss about the Quad Cities? You're not that far away, but is there anything when you get home that you have to hit up or go do?
Yes, Steel Plow. That is forever going to be my favorite restaurant. Not even necessarily the big milkshakes you get. I just think their food is incredible. The service is always great. I'll give them a little shout out. I love Steel Plow, whether it's the Moline location or Davenport. Either one works for me.
I know several of their owners, including John Barrett. So hint, John, if you're not a sponsor of the show, you could be a sponsor of the show as well. Mm-hmm. You have a spokesperson willing to do it, I think, if you just give her a milkshake and a burger.
Yes.
Allie, if you could have dinner, if you could go to Steel Plow and have dinner, we'll plug it again, with anybody in the world, who would it be and why?
Caitlin Clark. I would choose her because, she's always she's been an icon, but I would love to just sit down and talk to her one-on-one, get to know her personally, because she's just this big women's basketball role model. But I think getting to know her would be so cool. I'm a huge fan.
Did you, obviously, when you went to Carver earlier this year, did you ladies sneak over to the spot? Did you attempt any from the logo? And tell us you made one, right?
Yes, I did make one. I probably shot 25.
That doesn't matter.
We made one.
Yes.
But it was so cool being, and especially for me. And then we have one other Iowa girl on the team, but that is so special. I've always grown up going to those games and then going to play on that court with that spot. Granted, I wish she was still on the team, but it was the coolest thing in the world.
No, absolutely. Superstitions. I know athletes are superstitious. I guess we'll start with you. I want to know about the team as well, but we'll start with you. Are you individually are there superstitions, any weird things that you do? Don't worry, nobody's listening. You can tell me.
Okay, so yes, I wear now, of course I wash them, right? But I wear the same bra and the same socks for every game. And then so I switched it up. I'm normally a ponytail girl.
Okay.
I've always worn a ponytail, but then for the championship game against Lindenwood, I wore a bun and we had a good game.
Were
So
you
I
okay
will
with
be
that?
wearing a bun.
That's rolling the dice. What happens if,
I know.
what would have happened if like you guys would have lost?
I would have blamed it on my hair for sure. Obviously, that's the reason.
So when you are maybe at Carver Hawkeye Arena next Friday or Saturday, whatever it may be, you'll be rocking the bun, correct?
I will be. Yep.
All right. I like it.
will be.
I like it. Team wise, do you ladies have any, pregame rituals or dancing, or I know you all dance and sing and do crazy stuff like that. Is there any team superstitions?
I'm gonna be honest, no.
Okay.
So JD's kind of big about, and I'm not sure, maybe he's a little superstitious himself because of this, but he purposely makes sure like no one has superstitions on the team. He doesn't know about mine,
Okay.
but he's always like, you shouldn't be like that. But I think that's his own superstition saying that.
That's actually a really good point. That may be a big thing as well.
Mhm.
Allie, you mentioned Caitlin Clark and women's basketball in general, and it's such a high right now. And you look at it, and I always tell people, because I got to cover it for so many years, that the basketball's always been really good. People just now know more about it. Can you talk about just being a young female athlete, basketball player, and now getting the things that you probably grew up watching the guys get and maybe not having, especially when it comes to the NCAA tournament, and now having that for yourself? It's got to be special in a way.
Absolutely. Like you said, basketball has always been great, especially in Iowa. I think Iowa basketball has always been a crowd favorite. That's kind of what you hear. And of course, you had the Caitlin Clarks of the world and the big icons that just recently kind of put women's basketball on the map. But for me personally, being able to be in college during kind of that transition has been really special. I want to get into coaching myself, and I think just kind of putting women's basketball on the map like they did has been tremendous, especially for, the numbers, and now with the whole NIL situation, the crowd, the fans, even at Western Illinois, women's basketball has always been a huge deal. But I think in the past couple years, we've had so many new supporters and other teams who have supported us more than they, I think, would have in the past.
No, absolutely. One more, Allie, and you mentioned you brought up the transfer portal earlier. In today's day and age, especially at Western Illinois and mid-major schools, it's probably more difficult. What is it? Has that affected you at all? Has the NIL, the transfer portal, have you ever said, I wonder what's out there? Obviously you love Western Illinois, but is it different than maybe it was at the beginning of your career, if that makes any sense?
No, for sure. It's definitely different. I personally have never even thought about leaving Western. I've always loved it here. And like I said before, Addie and I have always had that dream of we're going to build up this program. And I think seeing a 4-year kid is so rare nowadays too. And I think there's something special to be said
Absolutely.
for sticking with it. Now, of course, there's those, you have issues with the coaches or the team. Like that's a whole different story. I will say the transfer portal is, I think, a little bit out of whack. I don't think it's right to just pick up and leave, especially the mid-majors, It's cool to have awesome mid-major programs. And I think nowadays you have the really good players at the mid-majors just going to the high levels.
Sure.
So yeah, definitely, it's kind of a stab, I think, at the lower Division I's and the mid-majors, but I have personally never thought about that.
No, I love that. I lied. I have one more. You mentioned coaching. Why coaching? I can tell basketball's just in your blood. I know that. And that's the cool thing is you don't have to talk about your career being over, because I think probably your career is getting started just in another form. Talk about what you want to do next and continuing to be part of the game you love.
Yeah, for sure. I Honestly, from a young age, I never thought I was going to be a coach. I've never really had the dream of going to be a coach, but as of recent, I just don't want to get out of the world yet. I think if I were to pick up and leave right now, I'd be way more emotional, and I'm not ready to leave the basketball world. I'm super excited to see what's in store for me, and I plan on doing it for a little while. So.
Absolutely. Guess what? The basketball world's not ready to get rid of you either. So I
No,
think you got a
right?
lot more time to go. Allie, I appreciate you doing this. I'm super excited for you
course.
guys. Enjoy Selection Sunday. Maybe a trip to Iowa City, maybe TCU, wherever you guys go. Best of luck. Be nice to John. John Bonenkamp's doing a great job. I know you ladies are always really good to him as well. So best of luck. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you so much, Matt.
All right. That is Allie Meadows, former Central DeWitt standout and a senior at Western Illinois. The Leathernecks are going to the NCAA tournament. Sunday will be a lot of fun for those young ladies. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. All right. Be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Tonight is a big night for the boys in the Western Big Six baseball front. Their second annual opening day banquet will take place at the Stern Center in Rock Island. Really a fun event. If you have nothing to do, if you're a Western Big Six baseball fan, head out to the Stern Center, 5:30. You can buy a ticket at the door, get in, all of those kind of things. They did it last year. It was a huge success. And this year, they're going to do it for the ladies as well. The first ever. So the inaugural Western Big Six opening day softball banquet is coming up tomorrow evening, Thursday night at 5:30 down at the Stern Center as well. And joining me now to talk more about the event is Rock Island head coach Julie Hudnall and Alleman head coach Blake Humphrey, both joining the show. Guys, thanks for getting up and joining me this morning. I appreciate it.
Yes, good morning.
I love it.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an exciting week. Obviously, softball season is here. Julie, you guys played yesterday. We'll talk about that in a second. But the event on Thursday, Julie, I'll start with you. I feel like it's overdue. It's more of an about time, but it's exciting. Kind of talk about showcasing Western Big Six softball and such a great product that it is.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting night to get everybody together, to their teams and the potential throughout the year. Me also being on a basketball staff, this, this idea of this type of thing is not new because basketball, the basketball teams get to do something like this. So it's exciting that we as, a softball community are going to get to showcase our Quad City powerhouseness. And then also, for the boys to continue to do theirs tonight as well. So.
Blake, kind of talk about it because I know you've been around the game of softball for a while. To have a night where everybody has their eyes on, and Julie just mentioned it, Western Big Six softball, nothing new. It's been traditionally really, really good. Talk about tonight, and a special night for not just the coaches but some players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always a strong advocate for the ladies and showcasing all the hard work they do and the talent that we have in the Western Big Six. Softball is a massively growing sport. And I think this is what needs to happen. It sounds like the boys had a good turnout. And so we're looking to have a good turnout. It sounds like there's a lot of buzz about this event. And I'm just excited to showcase our girls and the rest of the Western Big Six girls.
Absolutely. And as we know, the season is here. Julie, you guys had a game yesterday, already 1-0 on the season, and playing a little indoor game over at TBK. Kind of talk about getting the season off to a right start last night, winning 11-3, but a fun experience for the girls, I'm sure.
What a amazing situation to have the facility that we do for TBK being in such close proximity for the quads, and being able to benefit, us to be able to of its availableness. Our kids got to play, an inside game last night that if it was scheduled to be played outside wouldn't have gotten played last night. And be able to create it with TBK and create some of those, unique and different experiences here in the Quad Cities that hopefully lead to, other coaches and other games being able to be played is a great thing for the game of softball.
Blake, talk about that because it's already an early start and it's a week earlier this year. What's your thought process? Kind of, you get the girls ready physically, but mentally as well. It's like, hey, get ready to go outside and play in 40-degree weather. What's the thought process for your program when it comes to dealing with the elements that everybody has to deal with this time of year?
Last year was kind of similar. Spring softball is always tough. That first month is going to be kind of hit or miss. Some days you're outside, some days you're inside, some days it's cold. It's always windy, it seems like. So it was nice to see Julie get her team inside last night. It's something that I think some other teams will be looking at, maybe doing, especially having the Betplex right here close to us. But, there have been some pretty nice days. In fact, on Monday, we did our green and white game, 72 degrees and sunny. So it was a great night to kind of have our intramural scrimmage game. And then back outside yesterday and back inside today. So, the girls know what's coming with the spring weather. We talk about it. We talk about if it's cold and windy for us, it's cold and windy for the people in the other dugout. We're trying to stay mentally strong and just battle through the weather until we get some nice warm days.
Absolutely. Blake Humphrey from Alleman and Julie Hudnall from Rock Island joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. Julie, you look at it, your team was pretty good last year. Kind of talk about moving on to the next season, a great way to start it last night, but your expectations, your thoughts for your team kind of coming off some great momentum of last year.
Yeah, we graduated some major pieces, but we also retained some major pieces. And we also had some, good pieces that you're going to get to know down at that JV level that are going to fill in just fine. So it's going to look different, but, we're going to go in and compete day in and day out and, put our best foot forward every night that we get to step on the dirt or the turf and play softball. So.
Blake, you look at it, your second year at Alleman and some success last season, 11 victories, 5 wins in the conference. It's about rebuilding. Where are you at in year 2 and how excited are you to kind of add some newer players as well and get rocking and rolling here this spring?
I'm excited about this team. I inherited a team that was still very young. And then looking at this year, we graduated 1 senior last year, returning 8 of 9 starters, 3 all-conference players. And we have the best group of freshmen in a decade. So you're going to see a lot of freshmen competing at the varsity level, as well as a few sophomores and juniors, and then our strong 3 seniors that we have. So our goal is to go out there and compete. Alleman has a tradition of winning softball, and it was a rebuild. Went from not having a team to kind of getting over some struggles with, not great winning seasons. But we've done a lot of work to rebuild this program, and I think you're going to see Alleman back on the map for quite some time.
Blake, you mentioned some excitement around the program as well. I know there's a locker room down at the complex now, and you talked about the tradition. Alleman softball is and has been really good for decades, for a long time. Obviously, going from not having a team to where it is now, and some buzz and excitement around the program. Kind of talk about that, because I know the girls have to feed into that a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only did we've kind of developed a culture here that we're going to rebuild this thing, we got to do it together. And I had a young group of girls that were willing to do that. We've changed a lot about the program. And then if you look at, the facility, there's massive upgrades people are going to see down at that facility. Brand new locker room for the girls, brand new press box. Our field is in fantastic condition. And, like I said, I've got this group of girls who's believing in rebuilding this program. And with that strong group of freshmen, again, we should be competing for the foreseeable future.
Julie, when you look at this conference, it's always really good, and the coaches are good, the players are good. And you'll have to talk about it tonight. Can you give me a big picture of the conference? I'm not saying give me your scouting report of everybody and all that kind of stuff, but what are your expectations of the Western Big Six? And I'm sure they don't change. It's a battle night in, night out in the Western Big Six.
Yeah, looking, first of all, I'm jealous of Blake's locker rooms, so I'm excited to see that. I know that, as a spring sport and things of that nature, locker rooms are a massive, debate. So I'm excited to see what that looks like, because we are also off campus, for our softball complex. So I'm curious to see what they did to provide that space for the girls. So kudos to them in doing that and getting that accomplished. So I'm excited to see what that looks like and how we can, potentially do that at Rock Island. The conference, honestly, I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think there isn't any, front runner, I think dogfight is right. I think you're going to have to compete day in and day out, and you just are going to have to see where things shake out at the end of the day. Who might lead at the beginning, might not finish at the top. It's hard to say right now, because, there's just so much powerfulness that could sway all of it.
She answered that just like a head coach. That was well done. That's politically correct. There wasn't any. Blake, I know, Blake has an opinion about everything. I've heard rumblings that Blake is opinionated. Blake, your opinion, I guess, of the Western Big Six this year?
Slightly opinionated. Looking at the Western Big Six, it's going to be competitive this year. Everybody's I would say there isn't really a front runner. I said anybody can win at any given moment. That's what we're telling our girls. I mean, we could beat anybody at any time, and we could get beat by anybody at any time. We've got to go out there, prepare, and execute our plan. This is going to be an interesting Western Big Six year. I think even some of the programs who were maybe didn't have the winningest seasons are also in some rebuild. So I think the Western Big Six softball is going to be something to look out for, and I think you're going to see some big names that we're going to kind of get out there with a lot of good players in the Western Big Six. So stay tuned.
Yeah, Julie, you talked about being a basketball coach as well, and that's one thing about the Western Big Six and all the programs. The coaching's really good, and that's you know each other, you know what you do, you kind of expect what you're going to get from every program. Can you talk about the coaching fraternity? Blake's one of the newer kids on the block, but what's it like with this group of coaches? And I know you guys get along when you're not playing each other, if that makes any sense. Talk about that, because I think when you look at Western Big Six coaches, the conference is lucky in all the sports just to have a bunch of good people leading kids. Talk about the coaching fraternity in the Western Big Six.
Yeah, I mean, I know that my very first year, the coaches saved me, in an end of the year season awards debacle mix up. And so, reaching out to them after the meeting and taking care of, a couple things that I was unaware of and caught off guard with, that coaching fraternity stepped up and said, nope, this is the right thing to do, and here's how we're going to fix it. I think night in and night out, as much as you want to keep your secrets to yourself, at the same time, like, hey, how did you approach this? Or, hey, what did you do with this? Or, hey, Blake, I need you to get a win tonight. There's a lot of that goes on back and forth between everybody. I think at the end of the night, we all shake hands, and we all know that our kids and our athletes, left it on the field, and who wins and who loses. And I think that's the best cool and, part about all of the coaching stuff is, nobody's, living and dying on it, and having that kind of, it's for the kids and for the, you're trying to put your best foot forward, but at the same time, at the end of the night, you shake hands and say, great game. Let's do it again.
You might think that, Julie, but Blake threw a Pringle can at me back in the day. That's how competitive this guy can be. So, Blake, year 2,
he tried to run me over with his tractor, so I get it.
See, so everybody but Blake is not overly competitive. Blake, year 2 in the conference and getting to know these coaches and everything. Obviously, they welcomed you with open arms and all those kind of things. Talk about being part of this and learning people as well, not just the other teams and programs, but getting to know some really good coaches in the area.
Yeah, and to what Julie said, we all get along good. We have an email thread where we can bounce things off each other. Julie and I talk about things. I think we support each other, and a lot of good coaches. Know a lot of these coaches from the travel ball circuit as well. But I've reached out to Julie. I've reached out to Chris Allison in the past, and a lot of other coaches just to get some guidance on some things since I was a newer high school coach. But a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teams, a lot of good people, and I'm excited for us all to get together and go over this at the banquet.
So Julie, you've been to some of the banquets. I MC the boys. I've done the girls one for basketball. The football one. I like to have fun. I like to make it more of a roast than I do anything else. I love to. Do you plan on? It's the first one. Is there any jabs? Are you planning on being nice tonight? Are you gonna a few? Come on, a little bit. Kind of talk about your approach to this evening.
No, I couldn't do that if my worst day came upon me. No, I think it'll be all in fun. I think that it'll be great for all of us to talk and support our programs. There might be, I might bring up the tractor again, but it's not. I think we're still a younger Western Big Six staffing group. Jordan at Moline is in the newer half of her season, coaching over there. The Galesburg and the Quincy coaches are new if they're coming up tonight. There's some old, long-term coaches, UT, Sterling, Geneseo, those kinds of things. I think it'll just be a fun night of celebrating, softball in the Quad Cities and the Western Big Six. I think it'll be a fun night of promoting, our girls and the hard work that has gone in behind, the softball circuit, and hope that the media comes out and hope that then they get to then support our programs night in and night out when we're playing. So
if I text you stories about Blake, will you read them verbatim Thursday night in front of everybody? Please?
No, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it.
I want to get Blake's thoughts because can you have an open mic and not have a little bit of fun here and there?
Now that Julie's bringing up the tractor, I'll probably get a few things locked and loaded ready for her. If you also notice, she talked about some old coaches and then talked about UT. So I'm sure Coach Alonso is going to have some jokes ready for her now too. No, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, we're here to highlight our girls. And, this is very important to me. Girls sports is very important to me. And I'm just excited to get all these names of these girls out there and these programs and get people excited about Western Big Six softball. Again, softball is tremendously growing, and this is the right time to do this. So I'm really excited for it.
Absolutely. Julie, we'll leave you with the last word when it comes to give a pitch to somebody watching this that has nothing to do on a Thursday night and loves high school softball. Give them the pitch on why they should come down and check out these coaches, despite Blake.
I think it's just warm weather. Warm weather, great kids, a fast-paced game. And I think just, a true definition of, supporting your local high schools, whether it's out in Geneseo, whether it's up in Sterling, down in Galesburg. I think that warm weather brings great people out, and softball is a great atmosphere to come and enjoy and have a hot dog or two.
I love it. I love it. Guys, I appreciate you doing this. Best of luck this season. I know you're nice to each other now. There will be conference games in which it might not be as nice, but I appreciate you guys' time, and we'll catch up with both of you guys real soon. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
All right. That is Blake Humphrey and Julie Hudnall, a pair of coaches here in the Western Big Six, Alleman and Rock Island, respectively. Get out there and support what Thursday night is. 5:30 down at the Stern Center in Rock Island. You can get a ticket at the door. I think it's $16. You get a great meal, and you get to listen to a bunch of good coaches in the Western Big Six preview the season. So get out there and support it on Thursday night. We got much more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Give me the keys.
Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. If you need help with your heating or air conditioning,
Or electrical.
or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
For over 65 years, Linquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Linquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today. Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. It's always good to stay active, especially when you're getting older. I like to go out. I like to run. I'm 46. I like to stay active, but I don't run 26.2 miles, and I don't do it nearly 50 times in every single state. That is what this young man right now is planning on accomplishing. Danny Fleener joins us right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Thank you for doing this, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right. So we kind of mentioned it. You're going to get ready to run your 50th marathon and doing it in all 50 states. So many questions when it comes to that. I guess the first question is why, but that's the easy one. When did you get into running? I guess is my first question.
I never ran until I became a physical therapist. I graduated from St. Ambrose Physical Therapy School, got a job at Rock Valley, and realized that all I was doing was going to work and going home. And I kind of missed a competitive outlet, and I was getting kind of pudgy and realized I was telling my patients to stay active, and I was not. And I didn't have any of those built-in like team sports or intramurals because, I'm playing an adult now, right? So those weren't there. And so there was a coworker, friend who was a runner, and I hear him talk about it. So I tried to go out and, my 1990s basketball heavy shorts, my high top here, and I'd make it down half a block and say a few, choice words and stumble back into the house. And that was the extent of it, really. And then my dad was a retired Air Force man, and I hadn't seen him for a while, so I went down to Kansas to hang out with him. And that night we were teasing each other about being rounder than we remember each other being. And none of us were like morbidly, but it was, we knew we weren't as active as we used to be. And after some long night of teasing each other, I woke up the next morning and realized we had signed up for the Tucson Marathon and had flights and hotels built. So it was definitely not a planned event. It was just one of those things like go big or go home. And we went very unintelligently home.
You went huge.
Yeah.
How long did you have between that interesting decision one evening and the actual marathon? You had some time to get ready.
Well, not enough time apparently, because that was a rough race. But I want to say it was like June or July, and the marathon was in December or something. But it was something like that. So on paper, enough. But like I hadn't ran a mile straight since 8th grade.
Wow.
So yeah, it was an interesting start.
And then you do that one, you survive it. You said it wasn't maybe the most enjoyable experience. Why did you say, "Oh, I want to do this again"? Like, was it something about the event? When did you go from "I'm an idiot, I can't believe I signed up to do this"?
Well, I still say that.
to
that hasn't changed.
To I'm going to continue to do this. When did you fall in love, I guess, with running, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, it was a slow burn, both physically and literally, I guess. So the first one, I was just like, I finished, but I think the first 5 miles of that race is probably still my fastest 5 miles ever, which is not a good way to start your first race. The wall hit me. I did not hit it. And I was mad because I felt like I gave in a little bit, like mentally. If you run long enough, distance or time, the distance gets you. You have to like deal with all your insecurities at some point because it's just you out there, right?
Yeah.
I didn't win that battle, and that made me mad because I've never been the biggest, strongest, fastest guy but I was always there, mentally in it, and I wasn't, and so that made me mad. I didn't want to run again, but I wasn't going to let it define that, right? Because I had a vision of who I was, and that didn't pan out. I never had a vision I was a fast runner. I still don't have that vision, but I had a vision that I could be the best me when I had to be, and
Sure.
I didn't feel like I did.
Sure.
So I signed up for the Quad City Marathon, and I ran a little bit better physically, but mentally I was checked in. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And there was, I think if you've never been at the end of a race of a marathon, I think everybody should go do it. Because when you see all these people cross the line and realize that's not the finish line, it's their starting line of the new them, because they were able to be more than they thought they could be in one event, which can be something very difficult. There's something they knew that they were able to be something more than they ever thought they could be. And that can carry over to so many things. Right. And so I ran the Lincoln Marathon, and that's when I think I saw some people with some 50 marathon shirts on or something. And that's when it started to really kick but when it became falling in love was when I started connecting with the Quad City Marathon group people and, meeting the great race director, Joe Marino, and that whole group, and being able to be involved in that and seeing how much the running community in general, who they are as people and how much they give back. That's where it became, okay, this is where I'm gonna stake my flag in.
Danny Fleener with Rock Valley Physical Therapy and running a marathon for the 50th time in 50 states. That's coming up later this month. It'll be state number 50. Take me through that whole thing. And now you mentioned wanting to run 49, 50, 50 and 50 states. What is this now that you've gotten to this point? I think you're going to become one of 2,400 people ever to do this. What is the thought process like? And tell me what comes up later this month. I know you're going to Nevada, out in Vegas to do it. Tell me about how you're preparing, maybe even mentally more than physically, for what's going to happen later this month.
Yeah, this has been a unique one because I feel more pressure than ever before, So when I deal with that, like regardless of what I'm doing, then I just dive into falling in love with the process. And so I am making sure like the outcome will be the outcome. I've learned that over time. Like it is what it is. As long as I can feel like I'm mentally in it and I've prepared as much as humanly possible and checked all the boxes, and then you have to go do it, and it is what it is. But this one's interesting because it's all downhill, which sounds amazing until you try to run one of those and realize it's different and it can really beat you up. And so, like, it's the first time ever I'm doing downhill repeats. I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm really dying to be able to be efficient and not beat up my quads. I'm dialing in my nutrition. I just because I feel like, I owe it to myself to be the best I can be, but maybe even more important, owe it to people like my wife who has put up with this stuff for a long time to make sure that I'm the best me on that day I can be. And also, we got a vacation immediately afterwards, and if I ruin that for her, there won't be 50 for 50 for anything moving forward.
No, absolutely. Danny, some of the fun ones. I know that you did 6 in 6 days out in New England. That's just hard to get my mind wrapped around. Doing one is one thing. Take me through the 6 in 6 days out in New England and what was that like physically and mentally?
That was really interesting because, having a significant amount of fear, because I had run multiple marathons up to that point. So I was confident getting at least one done, but doing that many, I had no idea. Was it possible? No idea. How would I respond? No idea. And the logistics, because you get done with the race and you check out of the hotel, you race, you get in your car and drive to the next hotel, right? All that, the logistics of it all was also difficult. So I prepared the best I could and just went out and did what I could. But I trained really, really hard, and it was really interesting because, when you have a little fear, you're going to die. You work hard. Those mornings when you wake up and like, I don't necessarily want to go for the run. You get up and you go for that run. So like the first 2 races weren't like, I was in really, really good shape because I had trained really well. And I was mad when I finished those 2 because I ran too fast. Like I had never, because I knew I had more. I was, because these aren't ones you're going out theoretically racing the whole way. You're not trying to get a PR or Boston qualifier. You're trying to run hard, but you also realize you have other races immediately afterwards. So first 2 went really well. I woke up the 3rd day and my eyelashes hurt. I could hardly move. I was really in bad shape. I showed up. It was in Rhode Island. And the first 2 my wife wasn't able to be at. She came in later. She showed up at the race on the 3rd day. If she hadn't, I probably wouldn't have been able to finish because her ability to be there and take over the logistics and like the driving part where I was under fueled. I didn't have enough time or discipline to understand how much I needed to fuel and rest. Because I was trying to get from A to B to, and so having a good support system or crew that time. And then once she got there and I was able to get fuel, actually the next 3 races, I got faster and stronger.
That's awesome.
And it was interesting because I didn't expect that. I figured, there's going to be a fade, right? But once again, it shows you can do more than what you think you can. Most times.
Yeah.
You just have to go try and see where your limits are. You'll never find them if you don't search them out.
You mentioned your wife showing up. You're doing 50 in 50 states. That's crazy. It takes some support, I know, to be crazy. Can you talk about the support you've gotten from your family, your wife, those kind of things? Because you're going to be the one crossing the finish line. I feel like she's probably crossing the finish line as well with you, if that makes sense. Talk about the support you've gotten from her.
100%. Well, like I said, this started, with kind of a father-son kind of deal. for a while, right? And he ran fulls or halves along the way, and that was a way for us to kind of hang out and do some things too. And so he ran the first part of it. He was there for a lot. And then his life and age and stuff caught up with him, and it just didn't always work out. And then I started dating Cindy, who eventually became my wife. And she was not a runner. She was not into this kind of world, but she was all in from day one, right? Very supportive, dealing with taper Danny. If anybody's ever been around somebody tapering for a marathon, they know how irritating they can be. And they were always supporting and being there. And then she really loves race day, right? And what happened, I think, is she saw the finish line, like I was talking about, and there's oftentimes, it's probably doesn't want to tell you that, she'll be at the finish line and she'll cry for strangers coming across because it's an emotional event for them, and she knows, the change that just happened for them, and so she's all in, and so she loves to travel, and it's a way to see it. Now she'd rather travel to a beach than travel to a marathon, but she still loves the aspect of it, and ultimately she loves me, and so she's been there, and I very strongly doubt I'd be able to get to this finish line or even the starting line without her. So she's been everything.
That's well said. When you look at all these, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I mean, it's easy to say best one. What's maybe most challenging one that you've done over the 49? Let's not put cart ahead of horse.
Yeah.
The 49. Yeah, the 49. What's the most challenging one, maybe?
I got a couple of, maybe three contenders. Okay. So we already talked about one, the Rhode Island race for the New England one, because it was the start of the third marathon in 3 days, and it just completely under fueled, very difficult to get through. Wouldn't have finished it if she hadn't showed up that day. That I know for a fact. And then the one in Hawaii, the Kauai Marathon, basically ran straight up the side of a volcano, up and down. The elevation change, both up and down, was brutal, and it was very humid. It was one of my slowest, and it was pretty bad. It was awesome, don't get me wrong, but my heart rate was pegged from start to finish. There was never any decline on that. That was difficult. And then the San Antonio Marathon, only because, a couple of reasons. So that year, my goal was to run 4 marathons that year. And this was early on. And my thought was I'm going to run the first 2 as a warm-up to be able to then run the Quad Cities as a Boston qualifier, and then do San Antonio to get my state in as a victory lap for my Boston qualifier. Yeah. Not the smartest thing in the world. I had never even come close to sniffing Boston. I still haven't, but finished the first 2 relatively healthy and solid. Did the Quad Cities, and this was back in the day where it was really early, so I'd carry my own water. I had the little fake tattoo to make sure I knew the splits, and I was all focused in. And it wasn't hot. It wasn't cool, but it wasn't hot. And this was the old course, and we were doing switchbacks on the Arsenal. And I was hitting all my splits, and I was doing great. It was like mile 17. I started thinking my hat was tight. I was like, oh, that's loosen my hat. My time slipped. I was like, oh, pick it up. Try to pick it up. And I was like, I got a little headache. Time slips even farther. And I'm about 19, and my hat's really tight. I got a bad headache, and then my vision starts going in and out. And I don't remember anything after that until I was in my Silvis house going to the bathroom, and I came out, and my girlfriend, now my wife, was there, and she told me so back in the day when you came off the Arsenal, you had to hang a left to go out towards East Moline, for a 5K and back. And the finish line was to the right for the half. I went straight. And just kind of sat down. So I hadn't took an ounce of nutrition or water that time because I was so focused. So I DNF'd the Quad Cities. That resulted in severe IT band pain and hip joint pain, and so struggling with any temperatures for a while. And so I didn't run for a long time, and maybe got a few runs in going into the San Antonio Marathon. Started the San Antonio Marathon. It was about 80 degrees with 80% humidity, and I got about 15 seconds of pain-free running in. If I walked, my groin hurt. If I ran, my knee hurt. But I got her done. That one was that's one, like the opposite of the Tucson Marathon. Right? That's when I was mentally as tough as I've ever been.
Yeah.
Probably not as mentally smart, because the smart person would have stopped, right? Because there could have been some things going on. But I got her done. That was mentally the toughest for sure. So those are probably the 3 toughest.
Is there a marathon scenic wise that you've enjoyed, if that makes any sense? Obviously there's the battles.
For sure.
I mean, and you mentioned the volcano, you mentioned those kind of Hawaii, all those kind of things. Is there one that you're like, hey, if you just want a beautiful course and all of those kind of things, what one would it be?
I have really fond memories of the Ogden Marathon. That was a mostly downhill marathon. They take you up to the mountains, and it was snowing at the top, but within a few, feet you drop down, and there's these. I remember running, and you looking over, and there was all these horses and they were running along the fence line on the road with you, right? And so that was up in the mountains of Utah with these horses running all over by, and then about halfway there's a dam and a waterfall, and you're running through that. So the first 22 miles of that up in the mountains with horses and waterfalls, that was now after that you get into the city and cityscape, but that was a really, really fun, cool scenery for sure.
As you get ready for number 50, I guess when you talk about the running and the running community, can you talk more to that? Because you mentioned Joe Moreno and not just Joe, but that whole, I do 5Ks every once in a while. I don't do them as much as I used to, but even just being around the 5Ks and doing all the 5Ks, I think my son Colton and I, there was a couple years where we did one a month every single summer and just got around to different ones all around the area. And that's just a little bit of what you're doing, obviously. What is it about the running community, the running family that's so special?
There's not a stranger, right? Because you've had this shared event, this shared trauma, this shared happiness of accomplishing things. And as soon as you get if you're struggling, there's always, hey, you got this, buddy. They know, even though they're passing you because they're trying to beat you, they're there for you, right? And then when you cross the line, it's one big giant party and celebration, regardless if you walked it the whole way or ran it or you were the first runner. Some of the winners are sometimes the most generous and the nicest people you've ever met. Yeah. And I don't even live in their atmosphere or speed, right? But I've met many other elite athletes, and you just don't get that, right, as often. Because they know it's regardless of your pace, you're still doing the distance and you're still struggling. You're still out there competing. And then we do all these 5Ks around here too. And they're all attached to some kind of charity event, right? They're all giving back, right? And so it's not just about, okay, I want to go run and see who's the fastest and get a medal, right? It's let's raise some money. Let's do this. Let's help other people that can't run, that can't get to the starting line. And so there's something about that that's really nice too, to know, hey, I can go help people and do something I enjoy and have a party. It seems like the perfect mixture, right?
Yeah. No, it's perfect. A couple more for you before I let you go, because as you continue to talk, I come up with more questions, which is scary. I run to eat. If I do a 5K, it's because we're going to go to breakfast afterwards and it's going to be amazing. What's it look like for you after a marathon? Now, obviously the 6 and 6 days, a little different. You weren't able to do whatever, but is there a tradition? Is there a celebration? Is there a give me this food? You got to treat yourself somehow, right?
Yeah. So, there's another thing that we've been able to do that my wife's involved with to help find. So we've done 50 marathons, or we'll be doing 50 marathons in 50 states, but we've also done 50 craft breweries in 50 states. So we post run, you go, you do the post race recovery stuff, and as soon as you get cleaned up, we find a non-chain, craft, local hometown brewery, pub, something that we can eat and have a celebration craft beer. That's kind of what we've done over the years. So we've had one in every state. So
that might be appropriate probably because that's how this whole thing started way back in the day with probably.
That's right.
It all comes full circle. Okay, Danny, if I told you in 8th grade, if I told you senior year of high school, if I came up to you, go back to that and I said, hey, Danny, guess what? Someday, right before you turn 50, you're going to run your 50th marathon in all 50 states. Honestly, what would you have said to me?
I would say you're nuts. There's no way. And then I would ask, how far is a marathon? like it would have been all the above. Like you lost me at running already in your first comment, right? Second of all, we're not going 50 states. I'm tired of traveling. I've traveled my whole life as a military brat. And I don't know how far a marathon is, but it sounds too far. That's what you would have got back then.
I love it. Danny, last one for you, and I'm scared to ask this. What's next?
I don't know. Like, I know immediate what's next. So this race finishes on the outskirts suburbs of Vegas, and then we've got some friends and family showing up there to celebrate probably have some craft beer or will. And then we're going to fly to Mexico for a week and just kind of chill on the beach. And then we'll just see where life takes it. This happened organically it was a long arc. I am a goal-oriented person, and I'm going to stay active, but whether there's a big, giant goal out there, we'll see. If it is, I will attack it with the same vigor I did this, but I'm not going to force anything.
I love it. Danny Fleener, physical therapist over at Rock Valley Physical Therapy. More importantly, about to run his 50th marathon. How many marathons have you run total?
I have completed 50.
Okay.
And so this will be when I get to the finish line, if I get to the finish line, this will be my 51st completed marathon.
So you don't run the Quad Cities Marathon every year. You probably run some part of it.
I typically run something there because Rock Valley is the title sponsor for the relay.
Well done.
So it's a pup for a big push for the Quad City Marathon, and I'm a homer here, but going across the country and running races, some of them have relays and some don't. This is the best relay in the country, and that's not just because we sponsor it. It's because the busing system, and they make it just as important as all the other races. You don't see that anywhere in the country. So if you're sorry, no, that's not what this is about.
No, I've run every leg of the marathon relay, I'm pretty sure. Over the last whatever years, not every year like I should. One year I got suckered into it because I wasn't in any shape whatsoever, and I'm like, they told me I was going to do the shortest one, and I'd already done that, but I'm like, okay, that's fine, and I didn't. I ended up getting there that morning. They're like, we actually need you to run the longest, and I was like, you son of a. So you're right, it's awesome. So Danny, best of luck. Come back on when you get done. We do that? Do you mind go get it?
Yeah, sure.
Get pictures, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk more. I could talk to you for the next half hour about this kind of stuff. I appreciate you. Best of luck. And we'll catch up again soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That is Danny Fleener over at Rock Valley Physical Therapy. 50 marathons in 50 states. I'm happy to do a 5K. I'm really excited. The Bix I've done, but it's like that's almost out of my. And now I have myself rethinking. I'm 46. Danny's making me feel bad. He's 3 years older than me, so I'd have to reevaluate life after this. So we got more to get to. You watching OTA? It's Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West. the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
You from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Wednesday, March 11th. Just realized during the show, Friday is Friday the 13th. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but it is. It's been Friday the 13th-ish for the Iowa Hawkeyes right now. They tipped off a short time ago in Chicago, taking on Maryland right now. Iowa trailing 21-12 with about 7 minutes plus to go in the first half. So just 12 points in 13 minutes of basketball action. The offense struggling. Iowa shooting just 31% from the field, 17% from three, I believe. Cooper Koch is the only player to make a three. Iowa is 1 of 6 from three. Bennett Sturtz 0 for 3. Tate Sage missed a three, and then Cooper Koch is 1 for 2. So Iowa struggling offensively and defensively. Maryland has scored is shooting 62% from the field, 50% from three. And right now, Iowa trailing 21-12 with about 6:35 to go in the first half. What does that all mean? Well, one, there's a lot of basketball left to be played, but Iowa down 9. And the way they play offensively, sometimes a 9-point lead feels like maybe a 12 to 15-point lead. So got to watch that. You don't want to get this thing too far ahead or too far out of hand, if you will. But let's say Iowa doesn't win. I still believe they're in the NCAA tournament, win or lose. But I do believe Dayton and the 11 play-in game comes into play for the Iowa Hawkeyes if they drop this game. Plus, they would be losers of 4 straight, and I want to say 6 of 8, if not 7 of 9. So trending in the wrong direction. Now, mind you, played really good against Michigan. Almost beat the Wolverines. Took Nebraska to overtime at a madhouse in Lincoln. So some good things visually, but wins and loss-wise, Iowa needs to get this victory just to safely be in the NCAA tournament. Sunday becomes a little more of a sweat, if you will, if Iowa doesn't win this game today. Iowa State just tipping off against Arizona State in the Big 12 tournament, so we'll keep our eye on that as well. So college basketball is in full swing. March Madness is in full swing. We'll give you one more Iowa update before we wrap things up here. Don't forget the Western Big Six Boys Banquet for baseball is tonight. We had Thomas Smith and Jake Scudder on yesterday for a short time to talk about it. Today, our thank you to Julie Hudnall and Blake Humphrey, Rock Island's coach and Alleman's coach, kind of previewing the softball banquet that comes your way tomorrow night. So the Stern Center is the place to be. Wednesday night is the baseball. Thursday night is the softball. Rock Island won their first game 11-3 yesterday. So looking outside, it looks awful outside. And I told the coaches before we off air, I said, doing what I got to do for as long as I did. I love this time of year. I love covering high school softball, high school baseball. It's great. Covering it right now or these next couple weeks was the thing I hated the most. You just got done with with March Madness and the craziness, and you're inside and the gyms and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of come off that high and you're like, all right, head down for a baseball game, a non-conference baseball game, in 30-degree weather. It was awful. Things heated up, the weather heated up, the action, the games. I loved softball, covering it, baseball, that kind of stuff. But they will be troopers for the next several weeks. And as parents, we will be as well, going outside and watching our kids freeze as we freeze as well. At least they get to move around a little bit. So thank you to those two for joining us on the show today. Also, thank you to Allie Meadows, the Western Illinois senior standout. They're going to the NCAA tournament. They might be going to Iowa City to take on maybe Iowa as the 15 seed. We'll see. Selection Sunday coming up for them, but they clinched winning the OVC tournament this past weekend. So great catching up with the former Central DeWitt standout. You can check that out if you missed it. Head on back. And then how about Danny Fleener? Makes you readjust or reevaluate what your life is when you got a guy who never ran before is now about to run his 50th marathon in 50 different states. One of only 2,400 people in the world ever to do that. He's going to do that later this month. We chatted with him, a physical therapist at Rock Valley Physical Therapy. So thank you to him for joining us, and go back and check that one out if you missed that one as well. Great shows throughout the week. The Macocata girls were on Monday. If you missed that, go check that out. Tom Kakert, Mark Woodley, Kyle Huseman, John Bonenkamp. It's been a fun week so far. Another show tomorrow. We might be talking about Iowa versus Ohio State. We may be trying to figure out what it looks like for Iowa as they don't have a game until we find out what happens on Selection Sunday. Right now, 24-16, Iowa trailing with under 4 minutes to go. Bennett Sturtz just 2 of 8 from the field, 4 points, struggling shooting once again. Trying to see, Isaiah Howard has 2 points. Somebody hit a 3 recently. I don't know who it was. Anyways, Iowa trailing 24-16. Maryland come back down to earth a little bit, shooting 47% from the field. So anyways, we'll recap that. We'll look ahead to Illinois. They play on Friday regardless, so we have that to get to and a whole bunch more. Thank you guys for watching OTA here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. We will see you guys back for another episode coming up tomorrow.